Yeah, my bad.
I felt bad because I was like, am I the only one that didn't get the prompts? It's like, did I miss the bag?
No, my bad.
No, I didn't even get the prompt, Nico. It's all good.
Well, you know what? Forget what I said. I'm hosting now.
I work here and I didn't get the prompts.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Real Talk with Our Stories, Your Legacy. Today we are continuing the Rona series. We are now on episode 11. Crazy. This episode is going to be a little bit lighthearted, and this is mostly because just of all the stuff that's happening in the world still. COVID, still a thing. We're still going through it. But recently in the past week, we've seen fire season start. So California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, all those places are getting hit really hard by forest fires and everything. Especially us right now in Washington, we're getting hit hard. Not as hard as California, but on the east side of the state, you know, there's however many acres, 300,000 acres, I think they said, had burned in over 24 hours. So it's really hot, really smoky, really ashy. But yeah, we just want to give a kind of a little lighthearted episode today. We pray for all those who have lost their homes and everything in the fires. Just stay safe out there and protect wildlife because they've lost their home too. That said, we're going to hop in to episode 11, which is a second episode on gaming. Before we hop into that, I will give a quick overview of the last episode, which was episode 2 in the Rona series, which at this point seems so far ago, or so long ago, really. And I believe that was May 10th is when we had that episode. So it's actually, 4 months to the date, pretty much. So in that episode, we kind of looked at gaming as a whole, the history of gaming. When we were growing up, we kind of grew up with gaming, or the beginning of gaming, per se. So we started out kind of talking about our experiences with gaming when we started gaming, whether that be Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, all that, and how that kind of affected our lives growing up. So each of us had a little bit of an experience of when we started, how long we played, all of that. And then we got to a point where, you know, we didn't necessarily lose touch with gaming, but things got crazy, work, life, all that stuff. And then we kind of touched base on what quarantine meant for gaming coming back. We saw a surge at the time of new gamers coming out and buying all the Nintendo Switches because Animal Crossing came out. And then we saw the return of all the millennial gamers, essentially, that grew up with gaming, coming back to gaming if they had kind of lost touch because a lot of people were working from home. We couldn't go anywhere, couldn't go outside, whatever that may be. But really the big takeaway from that is outside of just the gaming component of things in life, is that it kind of rekindled relationships with groups of friends and everything. You know, those people that played games or had close relationships in school that didn't really get to necessarily talk to one another as much, but that kind of brought everyone back together. So with that, we are now hopping into episode 11, where we kind of revisit all of the gaming things, kind of review the last 4 months, see what people are doing with gaming, and go from there. But before we start, we are going to do kind of our little typical thing, check in with who is at the virtual table today and see how everyone is doing. First, we'll hop over to Ray. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's been, you know, super crazy, like you said, but I think I'm holding on. I'm not as heavily impacted by it, so I feel very thankful, very blessed to be in the position that I am, to not, you know, have a house that's kind of burnt down, and I don't know, trying to figure out and think of ways I can help those that are kind of in more worse situations than I am. But things are good. Things are good.
Yeah, it's good to hear, man. Stay safe regardless. Hopping over to our next guest, Nico. How are you?
Doing good, bro. Yeah, I mean, I can't echo enough what Ray said. Just it's a humbling experience just seeing what's happening in the world. I mean, even just going back to March, it's definitely has brought me to a point of appreciating the things that I have and just counting my blessings, man. My heart goes out to all those impacted by the fires. I mean, don't I'm not in their situation, but I definitely feel for them. We've had some people at my work that are impacted by the fires, and it's a scary situation, not knowing what to do. You got to worry about your family, your house, your job. So definitely, it's a scary experience. But like Ray said, just looking for opportunities to help them out in any way that I can.
Yeah, man, for sure. It is crazy. And I've had friends and I've talked to them and everything, even family members who have said that they've got their evacuation notices or like warnings to be prepared for, the potential of having to evacuate. So it's crazy. Hopping over to Steven. How are you?
What's up, guys? I'm doing good. Extra hot today, but yeah. But that hot probably is something minor compared to what everyone's going through. So I'm, counting my blessings, being grateful, going to do what I can to support others. But yeah, kind of just rolling with the punches, continuing to grow my mind, body, and spirit, and just try to keep each other safe and healthy, and seeing what each day brings to us, because each day is pretty much in the swamp, so we are just trying to figure it out daily and just seeing how we all can come out of it better.
Yeah. Today, Andrew and Zavon, we are missing them. Andrew is probably busy with forest fires. He is usually busy around this time helping with that. But he has been really busy with COVID stuff. But I imagine he's being called into other places as well regarding those. So we send our prayers and everything to them, make sure that they are safe as well. And with that, we will hop into today's episode. And kind of our first question, as I mentioned in the review, back when this pandemic first started in March, early April, there was a hype for gaming and everything. A lot of people took up gaming because it was something that they could do. You saw, video game consoles flying off the shelves, VR sets flying off the shelves just because everyone was stuck inside. And one of the biggest games that came out was Animal Crossing, which basically let a lot of people live a life that was not the current life that we are currently living in this pandemic. But now that we're 6 months into this pandemic, the question, that we have is, has the gaming hype kind of slowed down since then? Since that initial rush? With that, Ray, why don't we hop over to you first?
I think Animal Crossing specifically has kind of, the hype for that has kind of gone down. But I'd say like there's always new games to look forward to, different games. It really depends on like what you're interested in. And I'd say like for me, Animal Crossing for sure has kind of gone downhill. Like I might spend like half an hour a day just kind of checking in on things. And that's because like Animal Crossing is like a seasonal thing. Every season there's like something new and something different. So I'm kind of like have that urge to like not miss out, FOMO, I guess, like fear of missing out on whatever happens next on Animal Crossing. So like waiting for winter time when we can start building snowman. There's a ton of things going on. But like outside of Animal Crossing, there's new games coming out in the fall. There's I guess one current game that's just came out, Marvel Avengers, has been the game that I've kind of been looking forward to playing. I just haven't picked it up yet. And then there's Cyberpunk that's coming out. So I think for me, at least, the hype of video games is still there. Like I have games to look forward to, but like, Yeah, Animal Crossing has sort of died down for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely share those sentiments. I still play Animal Crossing. I probably play it, yeah, like half an hour to an hour a day just to kind of get my daily stuff done, all that. I know it has died down a little bit. But I've recently had a kind of a group of people that have just got Animal Crossing, like they just got Switches and everything because things are back in stock now. So I've been playing a little bit more with them, just to kind of help them get started and everything. So it's kind of renewed that little, Animal Crossing fix, kind of going through, catching all the stuff that just came out in September, acorns and whatever else, new bugs, crickets and stuff. And then, like you said, yeah, there's a lot of new games coming out. One you mentioned, Marvel's Avengers. I just picked up that game when it dropped. What was that, last Friday? I think the 4th, whatever. It's worth it when you pick it up. I'll just say that right now, it's pretty fun.
Okay.
I ended up picking it up on the PS4 just because Spider-Man is my favorite character, and that was kind of an exclusive to PS4 for that. For that. So typically when I say, or when people say like, what console should I get it for if you have multiple consoles? Usually you just buy it for the console that has all your friends are at, because you can play multiplayer and stuff on it. But yeah, I jumped the gun because I had pre-ordered for Spider-Man and whatnot. So, but it's a good game. You'll like the story. If you're an Avengers fan, you'll like the story. So, yeah.
Sweet.
So I wanna follow up on that because most Ray, if you gotta add, because I'm not a big gamer, as you guys hear from the last episode and just in general, but the hype for gaming is always there because there's always some new game coming out. I mean, me, I'm not a first person shooter game because I get motion sickness. I can't really pay attention to it too long, but I do enjoy, the 2K or the NBA 2K or the Madden games. Those come out every year, and there's always some sort of hype every year. But apparently this year, it's not as big for many reasons. But just to kind of piggyback off you were saying, right? With the people who were like hyped off Animal Crossing, like what do you think they're doing now? I mean, because you said it was a seasonal thing, but, do you feel like those gamers kind of went on to more better gaming, or did they just kind of like died, they kind of stopped with the hype as well as Animal Crossing stopped?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that those people move on to like other games if they're true gamers, but if they're not gaming, then I don't know, maybe a different hobby or something else.
Right?
Yeah, gardening.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I think. Also, it's interesting that you mentioned like all the sports games aren't like as hyped up, because I feel like that's kind of opposite. Like, sports are kind of slowly getting back, and because of COVID, they have to like have all these different like precautions to make sure everyone stays healthy and not sick. And it's like, I feel like, some games get canceled, and where are you gonna, find your sport fix? So maybe in a video game. So I feel like that might bring the hype up even more, but I guess that might be wrong.
Maybe, yeah. I heard the bad hype was for more technical things rather than the actual gaming release itself. But that's for another topic.
Another conversation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Nico, we'll hop over to you. I know you kind of got into gaming or got back into gaming a little bit more and got yourself Animal Crossing when the hype came. How do you feel that has the hype slowed down, or is it still just as high as ever?
Yeah, man. Honestly, I would argue that the hype has been the same as it was even before COVID started. Like the gaming community overall has been strong for a number of years, and I think the reason why is because they've been successful in making sure that we have a game every 3 months. Like there's a game that somebody's waiting for every 3 months, and so like you really don't have time for the hype to go down, because just like in a blink of an eye, there's something there waiting for you to buy. Um, I mean, I'm gonna have to be honest. With Animal Crossing, it was kind of like a 2-week adventure for me. And it's kind of one of those things that's like a pick your poison kind of thing. Some people really like those relaxed, mellow gaming. You just want to plant a tree, Bob Ross it, paint a little rock, put a little home over here. That's not for me. I need blood, score. I need heads busting open. So it was definitely a great experience. I won't knock it because it's a great game. I don't think it's for everybody, but I do think for what I played, it was definitely something relaxing. But yeah, in terms of the hype, I don't think it's gone down. I think it's maintained its hype throughout COVID. I think there are definitely even more players out there now than there ever was. But that's just because nobody has anything else to do. And some people might say that's a bad thing. But honestly, like it's the new playing outside. It's the new going to your friend's house, biking to your friend's house, throwing the football around type of thing. So it's what's there. It's what's convenient. It's fun. You can immerse yourself. So I definitely don't think that it's slowed down. But yeah, I don't know what more else to say on that one.
Yeah, no, I'm there with you. I think it just depends on the mood you're in too. I know I put in, if I go back and look, probably like 400 and some odd hours into Animal Crossing. And I know I'm looking at you, Ray. I feel like you're somewhat close to me in that. I know we put a lot of time into it. It's definitely a more relaxing game. I think it was just a fun game. I think for anyone who was like an Animal Crossing fan, a lot of that hype was just built on like we haven't had a new game and for forever. I know Ray really played an Animal Crossing game and he was still into that. It's fun. You get to do your own island. So definitely a fun time, but I am with you on that blood, guts, and gore kind of thing. I do like first-person shooters and all that. I found myself getting back into Destiny 2. Also, Destiny 2, congratulations. Today is their sixth birthday, 6 years ago today that came out.
That's insane. Oh, yeah, it is September 9th.
Yeah, that September 9th is, 6 years ago, Destiny 2 came out, and they were saying that over 167 million people have played Destiny 2.
Wait, 6 years ago was Destiny 1, right? Not Destiny 2.
Yeah, Destiny 1, yeah.
Because if Destiny 2 came out 6 years ago, when did Destiny come out?
Yeah, I have to...
Actually, maybe it came out 6 years ago.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's been that long.
Pretty sure it was Destiny, I think. Just regular. I feel like Destiny 2 was 2017.
Probably, yeah.
So, regardless, 6 years ago, Destiny came out. Hooked on that game, put over 1,000+ hours in that. Destiny 2 done the same thing over time.
I don't know if I've told you guys this, but when Destiny first came out, I was at a job that I kind of didn't like, and so they kind of like put me on the bench, so there was like no work for me, and it happened the same time that Destiny came out, so I literally spent hours and hours playing Destiny while I mean, like, I don't know what else I was supposed to do. Like, there was no work for me to do. I was just kind of clocking hours sitting there. And so I was like, you know what? I might as well just spend the time playing Destiny. And I had like PS4 exclusive Destiny console and like basically played it 24/7, like unlocked all the raids, like get max level, all that stuff. I was like super obsessed with the game. And I think it wasn't until like maybe a year after I kind of slowed down and the hype's kind of gone. And nowadays, I don't think I've played Destiny 2 like for a single minute. I think that's sort of just died out for me, but it was crazy. I was so like addicted to that game. I had to control myself.
Well, it is free to play now.
I don't know if that's going to suck me back in.
Well, hey, I'm playing still, so by all means, hop on. Pick your console. It's Crosssave now, so that's the thing. So yeah, so that's the nice thing. So if you spend all your time on Destiny 2 on one console, you can actually make it a cross-save game now, and you can have that character that you played 1,000+ hours on like Xbox and play it on PC and PlayStation 4, which is what I ended up doing, because starting over on each console was kind of,
pain in the butt.
It was, yes. There's only so many times that I could watch Dominus Goal kick me off of.
And that's the crazy thing about games. Like it's not even about story or the plot. It's about grinding.
Yeah.
And putting countless hours into doing the same damn thing for the hopes of getting this one legendary piece of armor.
Yep. And I am completely guilty of it. But yeah, I mean, those games, like I always play like that storyline and campaign first, just to get that true experience, and then then it's just all grinding.
Yeah.
Get all the things, your favorite weapons and all that stuff. But yeah, all right. With that, we'll move on to the next question. I feel like that was a good opening question. 2 kind of leads into that, into what we were just talking about a little bit. Nico, we'll start with you. The question is, do you think that there's a renewed appreciation for gaming for those that may have lost touch with it?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, just from personal experience, like I probably stopped playing video games when I started my current role, and that was probably for like a good year. So my PS4 was collecting dust for all that time, and I just never had the need for it. Like I knew all these games were coming out, but it just never enticed me enough to want to turn on the PS4 and hop back on. But I mean, ever since COVID started, I do think that like I've started to appreciate it more, and not so much like the games itself, but just being able to play with my friends. Because like, I mean, people can deny it left and right, but it does create a sense of community. You kind of have to have a community sometimes before you get into gaming, especially like with the online games and things like that. But you can most likely bet that there is somebody out there, some random person that is willing to be a part of a community with you, or be a part of crew, or welcome you to theirs. So I do think there is a renewed appreciation for gaming. For those that have lost touch, it's just the game, literally the game, has changed so much in the past years that some of us might feel a little bit old, because like now it's less about going through the story and more about what is it called, battle royale or multiplayer, going against other people. So yeah, it's crazy how things have changed from when games used to be.
It's true. I know it's a different time with games now. Everything is bloodthirst and hop into a zone, and then that zone is shrinking, and you just you got to take out everybody else and be the last man standing. So that's kind of what we've gone to. Things like League of Legends, all that stuff, those are still kind of big things and whatnot. But it's definitely, we've seen more of a battle royale type of thing more recently, where I'm just like, but I want to play the campaign. There's no campaign in this.
Yeah, man. I suck at the competitive gaming. Man, these 12 and 13-year-olds, man, on these games, it's just making me look bad. I'm tired of playing against them. It's like, I don't know how they be getting these headshots, and oh man, it's insane.
I know. It's like you want to keep up with the times, but at the same time, I'm like, yo, come see me, and like, wow, right? Show you what's up.
RuneScape.
The OG RuneScape.
What you know about going to the library after school Getting your 30-minute code.
30 minutes of RuneScape.
Get those tree branches, man.
Yeah. Man, with those horrible graphics.
And when the librarian walks around you, you know, minimize and pull up something else, right?
Pull up the history of the Alamo.
Or try to, because like you go up to the minimize button, it's like because it took all the processing. Oh man, but even back then it was all about grinding. Go figure.
And my game was my old school game was Oregon
Tetris.
Trail.
Oregon Trail. Hey, that's still a classic. I play that every now and then.
No, but speaking of kind of like gaming and stuff, I'm so old and not much of a gamer where when I hear people talk about Minecraft, for the longest while when it was big, and it's still big now, I thought people were talking and referencing Minesweep. You remember that game on
yeah.
So when people
still don't know how to play that damn game.
I know, you just click around. But for the longest time when people were hyping up still hyping up Minecraft, I always thought they were talking about Minesweep. And yeah, threw me for a loop for the longest time.
What about Fortnite? What are your thoughts on Fortnite?
My thoughts? It looks fun, but I can't play. I can't play like quick shooters like that. I know it's not a first person shooter; it's more third person. But just I think I get motion sickness from like, you know, the quick turns and, you know, just the quick movements.
Yeah,
I think messes me up. Where, you know, compared to like playing Madden or FIFA or any NBA game, it's more like lateral or, you know, or more linear. So like, you know, so there's not a lot of movements that like forces your eyes to like, you know, scan the entire screen quickly. So that's why I don't think I get sick from sports games. But when it comes to like shooting games, I love it, but I really can't play it for a long period of time. I mean, one of my favorite games of all time, like, you know, that I still have an old Xbox 360 and I still have some old games I like to play on. But there's like one of my favorite games of all time is Left 4 Dead. I don't know if you guys remember that game. Yeah. I love that zombie game. And yeah, I can only play it for so long until I just feel sick and just gotta lay down.
Quick question, just on that note. What do you guys think about competitive gaming being an actual sport now? Or classified as an actual sport?
Esports?
Yeah.
For me?
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, coming from a non-gamer perspective, I think it's legit. You know, I mean, if you could have a game of poker become like a sport, you know, I think it's a legit sport. I think it's a legit skill. You know, I feel like if I could dedicate more time to play it without getting sick, I feel like I can, develop some time. Because you remember before esports was big, going back to like Madden, for example. I mean, it's still a thing now, but I remember they used to have on ESPN those Madden competitions where like the people would battle across the country for each other. That was before esports was big, but that was like a legitimate competition. And there's skill to that. I mean, you know, even though it's a game, but just like the actual sport is an actual game too, you were in control of, you know, doing audibles or figuring out like a game of chess, figuring out a way to like deceive your opponent's defense and whatnot, you know? And so there's skill involved. And when it comes to shooting games, I believe there's skill involved as well. And so, you know, so I feel like it's legit. I think esports are legit. I mean, you said it yourself, Nico. You said, you know, gaming is like the new, you know, hanging with friends, biking, all that stuff, you know? We considered hanging outside back in our generation as like a sport, you know, like going outside, running around, whatever, riding the scooters. So in that same type of mindset, you know, why can't sports or why can't gaming be considered like a legitimate sport as well? So
I think competitive gaming is a lot different, though. I mean, just speaking from like my perspective on things, like I don't think if I were in esports, I probably wouldn't treat like I'm sure I'd have like my main game that I'm like professional at and like practice 8 hours a day on, but like as a full-time job. But I don't know how I would play that same game casually or like, outside of those 8 hours and not take it like just for fun.
Yeah.
I might have to find like a
Yeah.
different game. So I feel like in that aspect, it's definitely a lot different. But I mean, I guess it does build community in a different way, I think. Especially the team competitive games where you have to have like sort of a work as a team and have like maybe 4 other people that you're kind of practicing with, kind of like an actual sports team in a way. Where you do scrimmages and whatnot, but
Right.
I think you had a good point too. I mean, like from my experience too, it's when I played Halo competitively, and went to tournaments and stuff. Like, there's definitely a lot of strategy that goes into it. There's definitely a component if you're doing free for all, you're kind of on your own, But if you're strategizing and trying to figure out teamwork and how to pinch and get a hold on flags and hills and all that stuff. I mean, clearly there's like strategy there. So it's definitely one of those things. I think a lot of people don't agree that it's a sport, but like Steven brought up a good point. They've been playing poker on ESPN for however many years, and that's not necessarily even skill at that point. It's just a poker face and luck, really. You flop and the river and all that stuff. That's everything's in the dealer's hand at that point, and it's just how well you're able to sell the psychological point or side of the game too.
Yeah, man, I'm conflicted. Well, I'm conflicted only because like I see Steven's point, because like for me, like with the newer games, especially like with what's that one game called, Siege, Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh yeah.
So like I do think those kinds of games really bring a different aspects to esports specifically, because you have certain players who are playing different roles and you have to leverage those specific skills in order to win. To Stephen's point, I think it requires like strategy. It requires I don't know, the synergy, like being able to sync with your team and understand like, all right, this dude's going upstairs. This is what he's going to do. So I'm going to cut around the back and support him some way. So, but yeah, man, I think when people think about sports, they think about the physicality of it all, because they reference like football, soccer, things like that. But I think sports in and of itself has taken on a new like definition, especially with poker and esports. So depends on you how you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, people consider fantasy football a sport, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget the classic, sport, chess. Chess and checkers. Those. That's considered a sport.
Nerds. Bunch of nerds.
I mean, if they can have competitive slapping fights, I think, or like slaps, and then like the thing where they kick each other's shins until one of them stops. Like, if those are considered sports, I'm pretty sure video games being a sport is okay.
Competitive rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, that is a thing.
I've seen that.
All the hype up for that one moment. Oh man, Ray, we'll hop over to you on that. Do you think there's a renewed appreciation for gamers that have maybe lost touch with it?
I feel like it. I mean, I can only speak from my personal experience. I would say I kind of felt in that same boat of not gaming because life kind of took over, right? Full-time job, being an adult, I guess, like, and just having other options, other things to do. Like when football season comes around, it's hanging out with friends and watching football. Going tailgating for games if I'm going to a home game, and so it's like a lot of other things sort of just take up more time, so I never really did a lot of gaming. But ever since COVID and everyone's kind of stuck at home with nothing to do, I think gaming was like the next best thing that you could pick up, because it's like, I mean, I had my computer already there set up, my PS4. It's like time to pick it up. I can just like download like the next new game that's available, since everything's like all digital, and just start playing, right? And spend my time doing that. Or I could have just like, I guess, binge watch like some Netflix shows or something like that, which was an option. But I think I like gaming more because, at least, like what everyone's saying here, it's a community. You end up playing video games because your friends are also playing the same game. I know, like, I've been playing a lot of Warzone with Zavon, Andrew, and Gerald. We play like maybe once a week. I think a couple months ago it was like almost every day, because it was just the hype of the new Warzone game, and every season they release like new content. So it was just stuff that kind of brought us back together and playing as a full squad. So I think a lot of the times it's really just playing with the people that you want to hang out with, and instead of hanging out with them in real life. So yeah, at least for me, that's kind of what brought me back into gaming, is community and friends.
Yeah, for sure. And I know I was able to play games with just the folks that, because Sean, Ray, all those stuff. Other Ray, like all my friends that I played games with in college and stuff. Like after we graduated from college, all of us kind of went our separate ways. Like one was in California, one was in Boston, one was in Texas and all that stuff. So like everyone kind of got spread out before they all kind of made their way back to the Pacific Northwest. But like that was kind of our time to kind of just get back in touch with one another. We spent an hour or two maybe playing 1 or 2, 3 nights a week. Destiny is actually the game that brought us all together, and we were able to do raids and do all those things. So it was definitely one of those things. Like it's a fun time. It brings people back together, even if you can't see them in person. That's the beauty of it. Like with COVID, it's like, oh yeah, we're not supposed to be hanging out in person, but I mean, we can still do that with masks and everything. But the alternative is just hopping on Discord, hopping in a chat room, and then playing a game together. It's just fun. It builds that community, but also kind of, keeps everyone in touch. So with that, I know there's been some things just recently. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. There was a small leak of a new console that was coming out. So kind of leads into our next question here. In what are you looking forward to for the future of gaming? Whether that be just new games coming out, or kind of the crazy thing yesterday was the leak of the new Xbox Series S, which wasn't even anything that was in the air yet. It was just the Xbox Series X and PS5, but the Series S kind of just came out of nowhere, and they were like, well, I guess we got to announce it then. So that one, we'll kind of go back to you, Ray, real quick, and then just what are you looking forward to for the future of gaming?
Oh man, I feel like for me, I like to have options, and so like I might be one of those people that like owns a PS5 as well as one of the new Xboxes. Probably not day one. Like I don't think I'll get both of them day one. I'll probably start out with the PS5, or I think that's the one that's going to come out first, right? I haven't been keeping up too much, but whichever one comes out first, I think I'll give it a try day one. But I'm definitely like one of those people that like likes exclusive games. So like definitely I've been, Spider-Man's the game that I play on the PS4. And then Xbox has been like in the past has been Halo. So I like to keep my options open, have games that I can try and play. And I'm also one of those guys that like I don't really finish a game 100%. So like I like to try games, and then like by the time, all hyped up on the game, play it for like 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden next game comes out, and then I start playing something else. Like I don't know, like couple weeks ago, Fall Guys was something that was like really hyped up. Among Us, I think those two games are still kind of being played a little bit more. But like I was playing those, and then now I don't think I've touched it for like a week or so after the initial wave. But yeah, that's just how I feel like I am. So I'm definitely looking forward to anything new and everything PS5, Xbox, and PC. It's just whatever's kind of exciting out there, and in a way, kind of bandwagon a little bit. Like whatever my friends are interested in and want to play, I'll kind of give it a try. And if I don't like it, then I kind of drop it after like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I think I'll always have like some games that I'll like always go back to as like single player games that like have a story and something that I don't really have to like find time to schedule with friends to play. I could just like pick up, play solo, and just kind of like watching a movie or playing, or watching a movie or watching something on Netflix. Or just except it's more interactive, and you can kind of like immerse yourself in this different world and just play.
True, it's yeah, it's kind of one of those things. You mentioned bandwagoning, but at the same time, you kind of just you go with where your friends are at. That's part of gaming is the community and your friendships and everything, and you don't necessarily want to always play alone, so you kind of go with where your friends are at.
Right.
Nico, what are you looking forward for in the future of gaming?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more excited about the PS5 coming out than the Xbox, to be honest. I kind of don't have like, I probably shouldn't say anything about one or the other, just because like I've hopped from console to console. It just depends on like if I'm playing with family or if I'm playing with friends, but I'm definitely more excited about the PS5 than anything. But honestly, I'm just excited about the new. Sorry, 1 second. About the new era of gaming. I feel like they're getting a lot more complex, which is great because the gaming companies right now are just trying to one up each other, and the gamers themselves are the ones that reap the rewards from both sides. So I think whatever comes out, it's definitely going to be. It's going to be big. It's going to be great, no matter what. I just really hope that game developers do the games justice, because right now I feel like, and I might be alone on this opinion, but I feel like games have gotten to the point where there's really no balance to the game. It's either really good in one area and then lacks in another. Like you could have really good graphics and then shitty plot and story. Or vice versa, or a really good multiplayer, but a really bad single player experience. And I think it's because the gaming companies want to be like number one in everything. They want to put everything they can into one game, and it kind of convolutes the whole experience of it to where like, oh man, this game has this, and this, and this, to where you spend hours playing it and then something new comes along and then you're like, I played this enough. I'm going to move on. To where, to Bray's point, you never really finish the game because there's so much to effing do. So I'm really excited for the new era of gaming. I just really hope they take the feedback that the gaming community has been giving them and take that to heart with what they come out next.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things we see now, like community managers and everything, kind of reaching out to folks and just kind of getting feedback and whatnot. I know one of the biggest things, like even with the new game Marvel Avengers, I don't know if anyone's seen gameplay on that, but it kind of combines things almost like the way it looks is almost like a Dynasty Warriors type of game where you're just going and fighting a bunch of things, but you also have the ability to attach armor and all of that stuff like you would in Destiny and like get those armor pieces and whatnot. So it's a very nice mix of things. But even then, there's still little things that happen there and there, and people have been, they've sent their voices on Discord and Twitter and everything, and all the game like community managers and developers have actually been really good at like responding and kind of trying to do little, like hot patches and quick fixes and stuff. So it's definitely something that we'll see. I think as we continue into the future, like it's just one of those things. It's just going to be like, like you said, everyone's going to try to one up one another, and it's only going to get crazier, and we're going to be the ones that kind of benefit from it. It's just funny how we've gone from like things like Tetris or Mario and like Duck Hunt to what we have now.
Oregon Trail.
Grand Theft Auto.
Oregon Trail. Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, all those things. And it's crazy to see where we're at. In the future, we might even be to a point where, if anyone's read the book or watched the movie Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Great book. Read the book before you watch the movie or actually you can do either. Your preference. I prefer the book, but most people prefer books over the movies. But having a world like that where we get into a gaming scenario where like if you randomly just get shot in the game, you might actually feel it or something like that VR type of feeling. So it's going to be, weird, but it could possibly be the future from now. Who knows? Like technology these days, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's gonna be cool. But yeah, between Xbox, PS5, computers processing and all that stuff still getting better as well.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm definitely a consumer when it comes to games. I usually end up with at least one of every console just because I follow friends. Think I bought PS4 for exclusives on that and play that, and then have my group of friends on PS4. But then I have my group of friends on Xbox, and I think it's funny now that like we've gotten past college and everything. Everyone's starting to finally build PCs and everything. Mm-hmm. Like in high school and college, you didn't really necessarily have your own PC or you didn't build your own PC.
And it's not for the movies either.
Yeah, right. Yeah, not for movies. It's weird. So now you have PC players and all that stuff. So I kind of that's even the hard part for me, balancing between three platforms and four.
Yeah, man.
Switch really.
It will make you go broke.
That's why you don't invest all at once.
Yeah. Wait till the price drops a little bit.
Yeah. For PC players, I think they just unveiled like new NVIDIA graphics cards.
Yeah.
So it's like more expensive, but I mean, I'm sure they have like a lower tier. But I feel like graphics cards just going to be expensive in general because of Bitcoin and the uses for GPUs these days is just basically skyrocket the GPU, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting stuff for PC players.
I just really hope that the next generation of gaming really takes to heart cross-platform gaming. Because to your point, Tyler, I think that's one of the things that we're just missing out, that everybody's calling for. Mm-hmm. It's just like, we don't want to spend all this money to play the same thing 3 different times. It's like if I feel like gaming would increase actually if they would just make it cross-platform.
I feel like some games are a step closer, like Warzone in particular. They're not like cross-platform where actually technically the game is free. You don't have to own Call of Duty to play Warzone. And Warzone's cross-platform in terms of like, if you own it on the PC, Xbox, or PS4, you can play with people on the different consoles. Mm-hmm. And you can even like enable like if you want cross-platform. So like some people don't like to play. If you're a PC player, might not like to play with PS4 players or whatever, you can like opt out of cross-platform. But I feel like a lot of games are kind of getting a step closer in that direction.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like you said, Nico, I think they'd be they'd sell more that way.
Mhm.
Then people wouldn't have to argue like which is better, just because, you know, at that point you can play with your friends regardless of what, you know, what your preference is as far as the gaming console goes. I will say to that though, people on PC are going to be a little bit better at first-person shooters, just because they have mouse and keyboard aiming compared to two joysticks. But
True.
another story, for another day kind of thing. But yeah, no, definitely cross-platform would be awesome. But then, how do you know, do companies then try to one up one another if it's cross-platform? So, you know, more questions, but
Yeah.
who knows?
You guys, this conversation brings up a really interesting thought I had. Have you guys heard of? Do we have time for this? I don't know if we have time.
Yeah.
We're good. Okay. Have you guys heard of Stadia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I don't know if this is like I feel like it's like a hot take, but like, a conversation, maybe a conversation for next time. But like, this conversation really made me think about like, will Stadia kind of like win out over consoles, or will like, you know, PS5 and Xbox or PlayStation and Xbox or Microsoft have to compete with Stadia and one up, you know, Google and build something even better? Like, how's that going to work out? I feel like Stadia right now I haven't checked it out because it kind of offers like older games, maybe some newer games, but it didn't really seem too enticing for me. But I feel like that's kind of like the next step, the future of gaming and where it might be going as far as like having everything on the cloud.
For those who non-gamer talk, can you quickly describe what Stadia is?
Yeah, so Stadia is basically Google's platform. I think it's comparable to like Netflix for gaming. You basically subscribe to their subscription, I believe, and then you get like access to different games that you don't even have to download the game. You just play the game, whatever you're interested in, and everything's kind of like on Google. Google handles everything.
Wow.
All you have to do is like hit start, and you hook up a controller and you start playing.
Right. So your question is more geared towards other gamers. Is that the future of gaming, where Microsoft and Sony and whatnot will have to start developing their own almost subscription-based type of thing? Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, but you know, for a non-gamer, that brings up a pretty logistic perspective from my perspective, where it's like, how, you know, you guys are talking about cross-platform. How does that come into play? You know, and plus, you know, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that the reason why there's so many different gaming systems is because exclusivity, you know, for a different license to like different games. Like, is it still true that Halo, for example, is still only for Microsoft, Xbox, and you know, stuff like that? So you just got to figure out licensing issues too, you know. But then again, hey, we all for our generation, we all thought, you know, the hangout spot of Blockbuster or Hollywood Video would never go away, and you know, here we are. So yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Honestly, I don't know. That's kind of a tough one because these kinds of like new innovation type of technology have been underrated before, and they've blown people out of the water. Like for a while, I don't know if you guys remember, but the PS2 was like the reigning god of gaming at the time, and Xbox was kind of like at its infancy stage. And when Halo came out, it blew up. Like a lot of people started hopping on Xbox and just raving about it, and then they came out with Halo 2, Halo 3. So I don't know. Like I want to say no, just because. What am I thinking about? Sony and Microsoft kind of already have that subscription based where you can play so many games for a monthly payment. But I guess Stadia, or however you pronounce it, would just really need to step up its games. Like it would have to have the most exclusive games in that subscription in order to entice players to even subscribe to it.
Yeah, I agree, because that's like all the same games that you can get on Xbox or PS4 or whatever, or PC mainly, and it's like I can already get that game elsewhere. Why do I need to subscribe?
Right.
That is the question. I guess we'll see, right?
Yep.
It's crazy, but yeah, no, Stadia's it's a good concept, but yeah, like it's not really Google's niche in that right now. Like they're gonna have to really kind of dive into that and go like,
or come up with their own console.
Yeah, yeah, come up with an exclusive like set of games, like 5 games or something that's only playable on that or something. Just that would be the only thing. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, that. Any other thoughts you want to chime in on as far as future of gaming?
I have one question for Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you called yourself a non-gamer, but I would actually classify you as a casual gamer compared to the rest of us.
Yeah.
In your view or your perspective, do you think that gaming overall creates communities or isolates people?
From my own experience, or what I think of what I understand.
Like if somebody wasn't an avid gamer but wanted to get into it, do you think that there is a sense of community where you would feel comfortable engaging in, or do you feel like they're siloed?
From what I see, it just depends on the perspective. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's sometimes, right now, like I said, I still have an old Xbox 360, but basically that's used mainly to like watch some old DVDs that we have, when we can't stream it or search it up. Sometimes I'll play it. I have some old FIFA, sports games. And in terms of, to answer your first part of the question, I can see gaming being therapeutic. Yeah. Where sometimes when I just want to let my imagination run loose and play vicariously through a superstar player, like for example, create my own player, live their life through the NBA, however, play on the easiest level and just have them dominate as a rookie. You know what I mean? Like in terms of that type of isolation, I feel like games can be very, therapeutic like that. In terms of community, I can't really speak, only because, I don't really play a lot of online gaming as Nico say, a casual gamer. But from what I see from everyone else, like from you guys and everything, it does build that sense of community. You're playing with each other without physically having to be present. So I think that is another benefit, another positive to gaming. If I could play more games, I probably would love to be part of that community as well. And, I follow people on Twitter and stuff like that. Time they talk about Twitch and whatnot. And so, that's another community. People watch other people play games. Like I remember, like in terms of that community, I personally can't play without getting sick, like first-person shooters. But it's different for me to watch someone play. I don't get sick. It's weird because I feel like when I'm in it playing, like, I don't know, like I'm too focused and so it hurts me. But when I can watch someone else play, and I enjoy watching their competitiveness, and so yeah, it just depends on how you use it. I don't think there's any negative to gaming, because it's to each their own, and it brings out positivity in all, So yeah, it's honestly to each their own. I don't think I don't think it creates anything bad. So for someone who's not an avid gamer and wants to take it on, I feel like, just like anything else, just when we first learn how to use social media, I think gaming is just another community, another social media outlet. You just got to put yourself out there and find other people who share the same interests. So yeah, I think gaming is awesome. Just unfortunate, I just can't play it.
All good, bro. Just curious.
Yeah.
I think we find other ways to play games. We do game nights, right? That's a different type of game, but you know.
But the popular stuff, I wish I could play. But Ray, you used to play competitively League of Legends.
Yeah.
I feel like I could play that game because that's more a little linear, But like in terms of like Call of Duty, Warfare, or whatever, all those shooting games, Fortnite. For some reason, I don't know, maybe just because you have to be hyper aware and active in those games, it just kind of messes with me and I get sick. Like
anything that doesn't require motion.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's weird, but
I think
like you could ask Tyler. Like there was times when I would go over his place and I would play Rocket League. I don't know if you guys played Rocket League before, but for those who are listening, I don't even know if Rocket League is still a thing, but we played online Rocket League where you're basically, cars and you're in an arena and you're like driving your car and hitting this big soccer ball. So basically it's like soccer, but you're cars. And man, Tyler knows I get very competitive. I enjoy those games. Yeah. So
yeah, Rocket League is still a thing. They play it competitively. It's one part of the esports thing. So they have shoutcasters and broadcasters for it. It's crazy. Just like you're watching soccer.
Yeah.
I feel like you would be a good Nintendo person, Steven, just because even with Switch, Nintendo is one of those companies that just, despite everyone's battle for better graphics and everything, Nintendo stays true to who they are. They come out with Paper Mario, which is still a two-dimensional game.
Shitty graphics. I'm just kidding.
But it worked.
I will say, though, I am not, unpopular opinion, I am not a fan of Super Smash Bros. I'm not. I just can't get into it. I'm not a fan of fighting games. It bores me. And so, like, like I'm more fighting games, more of like, like Mortal Kombat, all those type of games. Street Fighter. I'm not a fan of those one-on-one fighting games. If they switched it where they did Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat as story mode, that's a little different. I would enjoy those heartily. Like, do you guys remember? There's a game that I still play on the 360 once in a while. But you guys remember Microsoft came out with Fable? I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Oh,
Yeah. So like RPG games, I still enjoy from time to time. Where like you could kind of, where like, you can argue that, how can I play that without getting sick and not Fortnite or something like that? Well, there's just something about Fortnite and Call of Duty where it's just like you're more hyperactive playing it compared to like RPG games. Like, well, I may be using RPG, wrongly, but games like Fable, where you like, it's like role playing, a certain character, or like Final Fantasy or something like that, and that turns into, it's more slower pace. So I think that's the difference.
Like, you're not actively trying to, do an objective or something. You're more like, here's a quest, or I talk to this person to grab my next quest, and like I can kind of take it at my own speed. Like I can, take the time to smell the flowers in a way, like rather than having to be just thrown into the game and be like, oh shoot, I gotta go here, I gotta go here, like I gotta shoot this guy who's coming at me. Like,
in a way, yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, well, not as slow as how Nico explained Animal Crossing. I haven't played Animal Crossing, but not that slow. But I'll probably enjoy Animal Crossing maybe. But yeah, that's as best as I get as a casual gamer.
Well, Steven, good news for you. Fable 4 is coming out next week.
It is.
Yeah.
Hey, I played all the Fables and I enjoyed it.
It's a Xbox exclusive too, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We gotta invest in an Xbox.
Maybe. If, as another thing for a casual gamer, for buying like a system, I really pay attention to what else is equipped with it. Like, for example, a PlayStation, like, you have the ability to, go online, that's probably all the devices now, but like all the devices, like, can play Blu-ray or DVD, so as a casual gamer, and using Nico's word, if I'm looking at a system, like what else do I get for my, what else do I get for my money besides playing games, So that's, as a casual gamer, that's what I'm looking at the most. If I'm going to get a PS5 between the new Xbox, what other services besides gaming would it provide me, So if I could limit, getting a separate Blu-ray player because the Xbox or the PS5 already has it, then that's a benefit for me,
And those are the things that like both consoles have now. I know
Yeah.
when the Xbox One first came out, they marketed it as like a home entertainment system because you could run your cable through it. You could play Blu-rays, your music,
Right.
or because it has everything on there that you need. Netflix is on there, Hulu, CBS All Access, Spotify is on there. Pretty much anything you can think of app-wise now it's pretty much on the consoles.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing. So it definitely takes away from you buying like a Blu-ray player or any of those things. Everything's streamed. Like if you don't have a smart TV, console is a good way to kind of have all those things attached to your TV. So
right.
So yeah. So with that, we'll wrap it up here. Just getting a little long, but it's okay. It's a good conversation. That's what these things are meant for. Good conversation among friends. At the end of every episode, we do like to kind of challenge our listeners and everything. This one, it's about gaming, so let's challenge yourself. Have you been playing games? Do you feel left out with gaming? How do you get into gaming? Ask those questions. See if friends who you haven't connected with are playing games. Maybe you can get connected with them, play a game. And with that, does anyone play Destiny? Anyone want to play right now?
Anthem.
But yeah, right.
Anthem.
But with that, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching the video today, guys. If you click right over here, you can subscribe to our channel, get updates of when our videos go live. If you click over here to the right of the screen here, that's a YouTube or a video that YouTube will think that you want to watch or like. So enjoy.